So follow people that know their stuff. Listen to how they have conversations about these topics, and you're going to learn how to have these conversations as well with other parents, with other community members, at meetings. You're going to feel that that you're prepared for it, because knowledge is power. The more information that you have, the more power you're going to feel like you have, because you understand what it is that you're standing against, and you can make your positions known, and you can make informed statements about them, and it really helps when we can bring the studies and the facts and, legitimate talking points to these conversations, because these are conversations that everybody needs to be having. So find people that are already having these conversations, that are standing up and being vocal about it, so that you yourself can learn how to have informed discussions about them. I have already had to have conversations with my children about things that I never imagined I would have to discuss with them. When you're younger and, your parents try to have a discussion about the birds and the bees with you, and and it's awkward and it's weird. I wish that was all that we had to talk to our kids about now. And I always wondered, how am I going to approach that topic with my kids? I wish that was all we had to talk about with them now. I wish that is a mild conversation compared to the things that we need to be discussing with them now. I never imagined I would have to talk to my kids about boys that think they can be girls and girls that think that they can be boys, and teachers that are supporting this and advocating this, people that claim to be experts in education that are teaching this level of delusion in the classroom, and just the fact that we have people in the world that are actively trying to confuse them about their very identity. I never imagined that I would have to have conversations with my kids about things like this. But if you don't have these conversations with your kids, and if you're not equipped with the information, and you're not prepared for it, somebody else is going to step in and have that conversation for you in your place, and they are going to flood these kids' minds with things that, once they're in there, are very, very difficult to remove, to eliminate from their psyche and from their brain. And you might not feel like that's having, that's going to have a major impact. But as I was looking at Billboard Chris and his account today, he posted a couple of messages from parents that have followed his accounts, that have listened to some of the conversations that he's had, and specifically said, thank you for the conversation. I listened to it. It helped me better approach these things with my own child who has been introduced to these concepts in schools. I'll read one of them to you. It says, "Hi, Chris. I wanted to sincerely thank you for what you are doing. I watched most of your videos, but took a particular interest in the last series of videos, the 80-minute long conversation. Anyhow, I'm a believer in things happen for a reason. Your conversation prepared me for a difficult one with my teenage daughter tonight, who disclosed she's exploring the non-binary identity. This was not a huge surprise to me and my husband. There have been other ongoing conversations. That said, I wanted to thank you because it did have a very personal impact for me tonight. Some of your points resonated with her. Have a happy new year." So she was already able to use some of the things that she learned from the conversations that he's having, and apply them to the conversation that she had with her daughter. And a lot of parents are having these conversations every single day and feel completely terrified. They can feel completely at the mercy of their child that's bringing this stuff to their attention, and they have no idea how to counter it, how to bring logic and reason back into the conversation, and how to, have, to make their child feel like, hey, you know what, I understand what you're talking about. I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're going through. Like, believe it or not, I have looked into these topics myself, and to approach the conversation from a place that's not fear, that's not coming from the unknown, and just completely being led by whatever your kid has learned in school. So another message that someone sent to him was, "We are at a loss. We feel like we are losing our daughter to this ideology. Last night was the first real open and honest conversation she was willing to have with us. I'm hoping and praying it made a difference. The points that really resonated with her were if it meaning this gender identity thing, was the fact that I'm so sorry. The points that really resonated with her were, if it was the fact we are more accepting, why aren't women in their 30s, 40s, etc. transitioning? It's just her age group. Shows it as evidence of a social contagion. And also the points of suicide rate decades ago being much higher if this was also a problem. I went to the rally in Nashville where Chloe spoke and intend on having her watch Chloe's portion. Chloe Cole is also someone you guys should be following. We are not giving up. This battle is extremely important to me, not only because it hits my home, but also because I hate what it's doing to a whole generation of young women. Thank you again for what you were doing and also for responding. And I love the points that she brought up here. If the fact that we are so much more accepting as a society to alternative identities, to different ways of expressing yourself, so people that are older, you would think if this was something that was, transgenderism was in people so much more than what we've been shown, wouldn't it be that people that are older would also be coming out and finally feeling like they can, be their true selves, if that's proper grammar. But it's not. It's just these young people's age group. And I've made this point before many times as well. We would have so many people in so many other different age groups coming out with some kind of LGBTQ identity because we are so much more accepting as a society, but we're not seeing those transition rates, and we're not seeing those coming out rates of other identities in all of these older age groups, because people that are left to grow and develop in a way that they feel comfortable without influence from the LGBTQ community, without this gender ideology influence, they will generally grow into comfort in their own body and their own skin and their own gender in the sex that they were born as. And that's just the way that it's been. So this social contagion, this thing that's happening with kids, is because of the influence that is happening around them. The books, the parades, the pronouns, the children's programming, the cartoons and the movies and everything else.